Handoff, Adrian up the middle, room to the 20, cuts to the left to the 25, and Adrian's loose! He splits the defense! 50, 40, 30, goodbye, baby! Touchdown!
We bleed purple, and our bones are gold. Hear the horns coming out of our dome, behold. We are Minnesota Vikings fans. We love when a player scores, we roar, ignite the stands.
Hey everyone, you are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. We pay him on a per-pun basis. I am accompanied by Adam Carlson.
Yo.
Also with us, he is the flavor to my flav, Mr. Kyle Smith.
That's right.
That was a Flavor Flav reference.
Yeah, we caught that.
Just making sure.
But I'd like to welcome everyone to episode number 119 of the Purple People podcast. This one is titled Do the Right Thing. And of course, the right has a WR. Just for this game. I think that's worth it. Because the Vikings played a football game on Sunday. I don't know if you guys watched it. I did. I enjoyed it. But before we talk about that game against the Falcons, it's quick hits time.
Let's do it.
Most recently, the Vikings have signed quarterback Chandler Harnish to the practice squad. Harnish was a former member of the Indianapolis Colts who was drafted in 2012. He was Mr. Irrelevant in that draft, but Vikings fans should be hoping that he is not irrelevant and can make a mark on this practice squad.
I don't know, I gotta disagree with you really quick. I hope he stays irrelevant, because if he becomes relevant, doesn't that mean that Teddy Bridgewater got hurt and had to miss some time? And I don't want to see that.
No, I just want him to move up and possibly be a backup or a third stringer next year.
I'd be fine with that. But for this year, he can stay irrelevant. He can stay irrelevant for the immediate future.
See, you're thinking doom and gloom. I'm thinking future, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking you can stay wherever you are. I don't want to hear from you again.
After all the crap that we've been through in the last 3 weeks, doom and gloom is what I went to. So yes. I have the best. It's like when I play fantasy football. Like, I have Aaron Rodgers, and I hope you throw 6 touchdowns, and I also hope you guys lose by 1 point as a team. Right? I don't know.
To make room for Chandler Harnish on the practice squad, the Vikings had to release wide receiver Dante Foster. We wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors.
You just future endeavored him, Adam.
I do. I love it. If you read my work on the Viking Age, I future endeavor a lot of players. The Washington Redskins have decided to sign former Viking safety Jamarcus Sanford, who was released with an injury settlement earlier this year. Best of luck to him as well, because the Redskins need all the help in that secondary they can get.
I am so excited that you made this a quick hit. If you hadn't picked this up, I was going to try to jump in with my own today. I love Jamarcus Sanford. I followed him on Twitter. He's a very humble guy, very down to earth. Good for you, man. And Adam, you hit the nail on the head. Washington's secondary is atrocious, so there's no reason why if he wants it bad enough, he can't have that starting job at safety there. So good for you, Jamarca. Good luck.
While we're talking about guys in the secondary, let's stop for a second and talk about LaRon Landry. And that getting busted for PEDs and the shock and surprise considering that, he doesn't have that build that you'd expect someone to have if they take PEDs.
I got the update today. I don't know what to say.
I mean, the guy's been juicing so much he looks like Scott Steiner, like at the end of his run with wrestling. The guy's just all muscle. Absolutely. I had trouble seeing a human being under his muscle.
Are you kidding me? I thought that was just push-ups.
Hey, push-ups can only get you so far.
Maybe he hides walnuts in there for the wintertime like a squirrel.
Possible, you never know. A lot of fans are going to store up their Teddy Bridgewater walnuts because he has has the top 5 selling jersey as a rookie this year.
What a segue. Good for you. Oh my gosh.
Teddy Bridgewater
Teddy, I love
walnuts, Adam. That's
right.
I want a t-shirt that says that.
Well, I don't have a jersey yet. I got my shirt that I was broadcast on here, but that is awesome. And I saw it today on the Vikings memes page. Said Say Johnny Football one more time. Slowly but surely he's making his mark.
Bridgewater still has a way to go. He didn't get to start at the beginning of the season like Derek Carr did. He hasn't thrown a touchdown or 3 like Mr. Blake Bortles down in Jacksonville. But Bridgewater has definitely made his mark on this Vikings team. And for him to have one of the top 5 best-selling rookie jerseys, considering that this rookie class is actually playing quite well, says a lot for him, his ability, and what people think his future will be in this league. But I got a bunch of transactions to go through here too. So the Vikings adding Bethel Thompson was official, as well as Ryan Otten was added to the practice squad. With those 2 players going to the practice squad, Chase Ford and Austin Wentworth got moved up to the active roster, and the Vikings have placed both Matt Castle and Brandon Fusco on injured reserve.
Get well soon, guys. I know Brandon, I think he tore a pectoral muscle, which is never fun. We all saw what happened to Matt, but best of luck to both of you guys, man. We just had a strain of bad luck, but we'll keep pressing. You guys get better soon.
Rick Spielman earning his money this season with all the moves he's been having to make.
Well, we haven't seen as much of the dancing back and forth as we did last year.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it was like every week we're announcing somebody getting cut and someone being brought back.
It was usually Audie Cole, right?
It was a couple guys bouncing back and forth. So it was running backs and linebackers, just to be able to keep them fresh and on the payroll. So I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
He's a mad scientist.
But now let's talk about what we want to talk about. We want to talk about this Atlanta-Minnesota game because it was fantastic and interesting, and yet there were parts of it that kind of made you scratch your head a little bit too, but not enough for you to take away from how enjoyable the game was. So let's give away our game ball, name our donkeys, and then we can get right into the meat and potatoes here.
I like meat and potatoes.
Oh, yeah, it's delicious. Let's start with Mr. Kyle Smith on this one.
All right, I didn't do my homework because I was doing actual homework.
Right.
For anybody that's out there in the Air Force going through the ALS course, I am so sorry for you. I'm going through that pain too. But if you want to take away from a frustrating New Orleans game and jump around to a complete turnaround this week against the Falcons, I'm going to lean in the offense, even though I love the way Xavier Rhodes played yesterday. I'm going to go pretty obvious here, and you guys can adjust if you want, but everybody's chanting Teddy. I was chanting Teddy yesterday.
Oh, sure.
The rushing touchdown, I put that on the Facebook page. For your first NFL start, to have so many, especially analysts, come in and say, holy crap, he looked like he's been doing this for a while. I know he doesn't have a passing touchdown yet, but he's efficient. He makes great decisions. I'm not saying good. He makes great decisions. And I don't know. I have to give it to Teddy for being prepared and stepping up. A lot of people get thrust into that role or flustered, and he looks like he flourished. I'm excited to see what he can do when he gets more confidence.
Well, watching that game, I only saw Bridgewater make 2 throws that I thought were bad decisions, and 1 throw that I thought was off the mark.
And it could have went, if it's the same throw I'm thinking of, it could have went to the house if you're talking about the one to Jarius.
Yeah, actually, no. I had no problem with that pass. To target a player on a streak route, especially Jarius Wright, and to overthrow him a little bit with, the small amount of practice time that he's had as a starter, although Wright and Bridgewater have been working together on the second team. That kind of miscommunication on a play when they're trying to make a huge play develop, I don't mind that. Stretching the field, give it a whirl. It's the plays like this where the screen was busted and Bridgewater threw it anyway. Mm-hmm. It's plays like that bother me. Those are the ones where you either got to look for something else or throw it away or get a couple yards and get down. But Teddy Bridgewater's a smart guy. He made a lot of good decisions in that game. So I can't disagree with you giving him the game ball.
We're doing donkeys as well, or you guys want to go around the table?
Let's game ball and donk it. Let's do it.
All right. This is really tough because I think, 558 total yards yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, 4 rushing touchdowns. We set a franchise record.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna lean. I'm not gonna put it on any one person because it was such a good day yesterday. But I'm gonna lean on the secondary. I know you were playing against Julio and Roddy with Matty Ice as your quarterback, but there were some awful missed tackles and even wide open blown coverage. Just there was some confusion back there yesterday. This game could have easily been 41 to, I don't know, 17. Probably 44 to 17 if Blair would have made it. So obvious throws, missed tackles, especially against Hester for that touchdown. That's where my donkey's going to go. Although you are playing against one of the best offenses, especially wide receiver tandems, and then to add Devin Hester in the mix, who's playing out of his mind right now.
Well, Atlanta entered that game with the number 1 overall offense in the NFL and the number 1 passing offense. So I think the secondary did fairly well, but there were times, especially in 3rd and long, that either tackles were missed, bad angles were taken, or things just happened that gave up a first down on those plays that shouldn't have happened. So I can understand your grief there.
It's hard to pick from us having such a good game pretty much all around. The only thing that would have made yesterday better was to see Cordero run one back, and God knows he tried. He had a decent return.
There were a couple times he didn't take the ball out, which kind of had a lot of fans scratching their heads, but I think he was doing it for the greater good.
Which is fine with me. But yes, it was hard to pick a donkey, but we have to pick one here, so that's what I'm going with.
All right, Mr. West, go ahead.
Well, I get to do something really fun this week, and this is something that I actually really enjoy when I get to do this, and it's rare that it happens. Last week, I get to take the player that I labeled my donkey, and I get to give him a game ball, because in the span of 1 week, this guy really turned it around and did exactly what I was hoping he would do. And I'm talking about Jerick McKinnon having 135 yards rushing on the ground. Wow, what a coming out performance. You guys were spot on about Teddy Bridgewater, but Jerick McKinnon, man, he had a coming out party as well, too, for him. That is the kind of production that we need to see from both him and Matt Asiata, who had 3 touchdowns and 78 yards. So we got to give him a shout out as well, too. That is more of the 2-back system that I want to see the Vikings run, because both these guys have different skill sets, and I think the Vikings coaching staff did a very fine job of using both of them to what they can do. So I like that. My game ball goes to Mr. Jerick McKinnon this week.
Did you notice something very interesting when Zimmer was talking recently about Jerick McKinnon? He stopped referring to him as a backup and has started referring to him as a change of pace back.
Yep, I caught that as well, too.
To me, that little slip in terminology just really changes his role and how you think that the team will utilize him.
Well, because let's be honest, his role has changed from what it was week 1 based on personnel.
A backup.
Yep, and now he is, hey, you're a change of pace back. Like, that's what this team is expecting of you at this point. And I don't know if you guys listened to Coach Zimmer do his press conferences, but he was asked about, I guess, Jerick, and made some kind of comment about how he was sort of surprised that he had 135 yards on the ground. And Zimmer's reaction to that was just spot on, where he goes, well, Jerick needs to raise his expectations, and I will be talking to him about that as soon as this is done. Like, I thought that was really, really good for Zimmer to do that, and he's correct.
All right, what do you got for your donkey?
For my donkey, anytime the Vikings win, I usually don't like to label a donkey on the team unless there's some really, really bad performance. So for this week, I'm going to give it to Rondé Barber for just being the second week in a row that I got to sit here and listen to him say the absolute dumbest crap imaginable in the announce booth. Rondé, come on. He sounds like he's never played football at all, and it's getting a little annoying. And if I never hear another game that Rondé Barber broadcasts, like, I will be perfectly fine. So he is my donkey for the week.
Wow, I gotta admit, I didn't see that one coming. Not from a long shot. My game ball actually goes to Jarius Wright. I expected one of you two guys to throw that ball, throw it in his direction, so I was gonna take Jerick McKinnon. But since neither of you guys chose Jarius Wright, I am almost forced to. 8 catches on 10 targets. His only 2 targets he didn't catch was one ball that was uncatchable, that was a little too far, and one ball that just kind of got batted away. 8 catches, 132 yards, averaging 16.5 yards per catch, one of those going for 52 yards. Jarius Wright was a player in this game that was a game changer. People came into this expecting Cordero Patterson to be the number 1 wide receiver. And they thought, okay, well, if he can't, then at least the veteran Greg Jennings is there. Between Greg Jennings and Cordero Patterson, there were 8 targets for 5 catches. Jarius's numbers eclipsed both of those combined.
Mm-hmm.
So Jarius Wright finally getting a role on this team, playing like the player that the Vikings drafted him to be out of the slot, and actually being able to line up anywhere on the field at that. Jarius Wright definitely gets my game ball.
He was on fire yesterday, and I'm happy for him because there were talks. I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. There were talks about him maybe not even making the roster, and
There was.
he didn't have such a good preseason, but what a showing yesterday. And even if you look on NFL Network, they're just like, where did he come from? Along with Jerick. And to piggyback on that, all 3 of our guys yesterday, Teddy, Jerick, and now Jarius. I mean, holy crap. If we can get this week in and week out, I mean, there's just going to be so many heads turned. But good for you, Jarius. I mean, I'm really cool that we got a show named after him. That should say a lot, too.
What does it say that the only player on the Vikings offense to score 3 touchdowns didn't make any of our game balls?
I know, but Asiata was quietly really good with 78 yards and 3 touchdowns when we needed him.
Because he definitely deserves an honorable mention, at least.
A shout out to all my friends on my personal Facebook page because they were like, Matt Asiata is fantasy gold this week.
And I would like to thank him for being on my fantasy football team.
My friend.
If you guys remember that last year, the last game of the season, he got 3 touchdowns too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping this could be a trend because, like you said earlier, Kyle, when I watched yesterday, everybody, including myself, was like, AP is gone. Our season's over with. I'm starting to look back at, probably 7-8 years ago with Carolina, with how they'd had that split back tandem with Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. Why can't we use that now? I mean, if the line keeps playing, and that was going to be my second option today, the offensive line yesterday.
In a huge way.
Yes,
and
he
Vladimir
did.
Ducasse only had the 1 penalty that hurt the team. And I admit, I've been hard on Vladimir Ducasse. I did not like the signing. I did not like them playing him over Berger, but he played well in the game against Atlanta. Good show.
Noticing, I'll let you get to your donkey here in a second, but have you noticed an overall theme right now? It's exactly what we've been talking about that needs to happen with this team, and that is young guys stepping up to the plate and filling in roles for the Vikings. And all across the board, you've got guys from Bridgewater to McKinnon to Wright to I don't know how long Vlad Dukakis has been in the league, but hey, he's new for us, so I'm going to lump him in with this as well, too. Just guys stepping up and performing, and we got to see that this week.
All of our game balls went to guys on their rookie deals, if that tells you anything.
So awesome.
This is a team that's built for the future. And that's a fact, Jack.
Praise be Rick Spielman, our Lord and Savior.
But I got to give away my donkey
that's
now.
right.
And Brian Robinson, I'm looking at you.
Uh-oh.
All right. When you are a defensive end and your cornerstone, Jared Allen, leaves and goes to another team, and you got a young player beside you in his first year at defensive end, you got Everson Griffin over there leaning on you, you have to not only lead by example, but you have to play at a high level for yourself. Now, when you're facing a decent right tackle in Atlanta, that's understandable. But when that right tackle leaves and a tight end comes in and you still can't get any pressure, as a matter of fact, you get stonewalled outside the pocket and are jumping like doing jumping jacks to try to swat a pass at a quarterback that isn't even ready to throw the ball. It's ridiculous. You made yourself look silly. At least try to get some pressure on a player that's absolutely inferior to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you're my donkey for this game.
I agree with you. I would actually like to see better play from both of our two ends out there, both Everson and Brian.
I mean, I understand that might have sounded a little harsh.
No, you were 100% correct, especially like you said, when it gets down to where you're playing a guy who's out of position on the opposite side of the field for you. Yeah, you gotta bring more than that, Brian.
I would agree, because that's kind of the ideal situation you're looking for. I mean, obviously there was a lot of injuries yesterday, but
the Falcons had so many injured players on their offensive line, they had to move line to, as I call him, to right guard,
everyone does.
or to right tackle.
You don't wish those injuries upon anyone, but when that happens and you hear about it, you've got to be salivating as a player, like, oh, I'm about to take advantage of this guy. That's why I can't disagree with what you're saying, and I don't think it's harsh.
He ended the game with 1 tackle and 1 assisted tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Not a pretty showing. Not a pretty showing at all. But overall, the team played very well. And that's what was nice and refreshing. Coming off that game against the Saints, a lot of Vikings fans had their expectations tempered a bit because they saw a little bit of the collapse when Castle was struggling. But then when Bridgewater came in, the offense kind of like showed itself to be kind of relevant again. But we didn't see that spark from the defense. The end of the game against the Falcons here, we saw 2 interceptions. Basically, both were either bad or forced throws. Both Josh Robinson and Harrison Smith came up with interceptions in this game, and that's what these Vikings are supposed to do. Get pressure on the quarterback, which the Vikings really failed to do against a team that just had no offensive line structure whatsoever in that game. And it's supposed to be able to force that pressure and make the quarterback make bad decisions or bad throws to get turnovers. And somehow the secondary was still able to get 2 turnovers without that pressure. So congratulations to the secondary. You faced 2 of the best wide receivers in the league. 3 if you count Hester, who can be just a handful at times, even though he's not the best positional wide receiver, I'll say. He's still dangerous when you get the ball in his hands.
I wanted to give, or I could have given my game ball to Dirty Harry Harrison Smith as well, too, because this cat is all over the field for the Vikings, making plays. He comes up with that interception. That was a huge play for him to do that, for him to be able to jump that. He is just... He's really turning into something special for the Vikings, and it is definitely good. I'm a big fan of Harrison Smith.
Well, what was a big surprise to me this game was Xavier Rhodes. His ability to bounce back from the last 2 games where he was getting penalized and posterized. And in this game, he had 4 passes defensed. 4. Big plays. He knocked the ball out of players' hands. He disrupted routes. He did more in this game than he has in the last couple games, and it's because he's had to change the way he plays the position. Physical cornerbacks can't strive the way they used to because of all the new rules, and Xavier Rhodes is adjusting to that. And I think that if this game can show what he can do inside that rule set, the Vikings could have a big superstar corner on their hand here.
I agree. I loved his play against Hester. I think Hester actually got 2 hands on, but he knocked it out, and he disrupted a touchdown. And to piggyback on Harrison, the best part about that interception was when it happened in the game. Not that he's not capable, but Matt Ryan is a lot like Andrew Luck and everyone else in that category who can lead fourth quarter comeback drives.
Oh, absolutely.
He's up at the top. If not, I think he might be at the top. He's just awesome at that. And I mean, let's be real. I think he was throwing to Roddy White. I could be wrong, but he just crept up from behind. He had no idea that he was coming for it, and that was the pretty big nail in the coffin for that game. So I love the way Harrison's playing. If he plays like this all year, he could be up for an award of some type. And I love it because I'm going to give half the credit to Mike Zimmer. I've been preaching it all year, but he is getting the best out of these kids that were already good, but now they're going to make that leap to be great.
I also want to give a major shout out to Josh Robinson, who really had another fantastic game. He was everywhere on the field, and the fact that he was able to defend 2 passes, get that interception. He only had 2 tackles on the day because, well, let's face it, cornerbacks aren't supposed to be doing the bulk of the tackling, although Captain Munerlin had 6 and Harrison Smith had 5. But on the other hand, we had some speedy linebackers on the field in Anthony Barr and Gerald Hodges. And Anthony Barr quietly put together another really solid game with 5.5 tackles and 1 sack that sent to, I almost called him Aaron Rodgers. You gotta stop saying that, man. That sent Matt Ryan and the Falcons back 10 yards.
The sack was beautiful, and if you watch it, I watched the highlights today. Brian Robinson was so pissed. He got laid down pretty much, but he ended up getting a hand on and a little bit of pressure on Matt Ryan, and that caused Anthony to get in there and do his thing. He's, like you said, he's quietly putting together a nice little stretch. He's got a nice first 4 games now. I'm really, really happy that we picked him where we did. A lot of people said we kind of reached, but filled in one of our big glaring needs. Obviously, the coaches and the staff felt like it was our biggest glaring need. And if you guys noticed, too, yesterday, he had the green dot on the back of his helmet, much like Teddy runs the offense. They gave him the responsibility yesterday for the defense with Chad Greenway being out.
He relayed the plays from the coaches onto the field.
That's very, very awesome. Good for you, Anthony.
It was an amazing effort from this entire team. From the offense to the defense. I was still disappointed by the defensive line's inability to get pressure. But that's something that maybe it's just because they were facing the number 1 offense and they know how to get the ball out so fast. And, sure, there are plenty of excuses, but still, I want to see more pressure. I want to see more sacks.
For me, they got to improve on 3rd down. They got to get opposing offenses off the field on 3rd down, especially when they're in 3rd and long and they're giving up those situations. They got to improve on that. They got to improve, and I think red zone coverages. We've seen the breakdown where it was between Munnerlin and Robinson, where they both went. They both read. I forget what.
Yeah, they both played inside on Julio instead of outside.
Yep, and that was just a complete wide open walk-on touchdown pass.
And then the next play was a misdirection to the fullback.
Yep.
That again made the Vikings defense look absolutely silly.
So those are areas they got to improve upon. The positive thing that we can take from this is, if me and you were sitting here talking about it, that we actually have a head coach in place who knows this and is going to get this corrected. So these are points that, hey, this team is going to work on. We got a really young roster. And to kind of fold back to Anthony Barr, he is quietly doing really good. Just think where he's going to be in 2-3 years when he gets all that experience and he gets his confidence underneath him. He's going to be a darn good player for the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm excited to see what he can do for us as well, too.
Teddy Bridgewater left this game with an ankle injury. He went back into the locker room, had an x-ray. That x-ray came back negative. The next morning, he went and had an MRI. That MRI came back negative. There's no structural damage to the ankle. And right now, he is slated to be able to start on Thursday in Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. So how do you guys feel about Teddy time, now that you've gotten to see him in, well, as close to a full game as you're going to see?
Well, I've been preaching it since we got done with last season, and a lot of people had the memes and the photoshopped pictures of Mr. Manziel and purple with the number 2. I mean, we joke around, we have fun, but just I'll get to him playing on the field in 2 seconds. But if you watch the kid, how he carries himself in interviews, and you can just see his aura. He loves football. He loves to play. He eats, he breathes, he sleeps football. He's focused. He wants to be the best. And it shows out of all the quarterbacks taken. And this isn't taking anything away from Derek Carr or Blake Bortles. Johnny Manziel, I'm sorry, he hasn't done anything yet. So maybe he'll get his chance. Maybe he'll wow everybody like they hope he does. But hey, Derek, Blake, good to you guys for stepping up. They're not in the most ideal of teams and situations. I think Teddy had the best going in. Obviously, AP's gone now, but I think he had the best situation to walk into. But he's the best decision maker, and he's got a great quick release. And I'm super stoked that we got him. I hope that he can get his frame a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And put some meat on his bones because he's kind of small. But, hey, they said the same thing about Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. And what do those two guys have in common? A little bit of gold on their rings or on their fingers. So I love it. And they were making comparisons to him yesterday. I mean, when your first game you're playing, and I know we're talking a lot of high stuff early on, but they were making comparisons for Drew Brees and Russell Wilson to Teddy Bridgewater yesterday. So I'll take that all day long.
Before that, they were making comparisons to Andy Dalton. So I'm going to say that it's kind of stepped up a little bit here as far as the media's expectations.
Absolutely.
But one of the things I absolutely loved is if you got a chance to talk to any of the media or see the media reports after Bridgewater gets interviewed, a lot of them come away with the same feeling. They think that Teddy Bridgewater is a boring interview. Well, let me say this. I'll take boring. I will take boring all day long right now.
Mm-hmm.
As a Vikings fan, I've had enough excitement, drama, intrigue, all that kind of stuff. Give me boring. Give me heaps of boring. I want it.
If an efficient 317 yards is boring, I'll take boring. I'm fine with boring.
21 years old. What was he? 19 of 30, 19 of 31. Mm-hmm. I mean, 317 yards and a rushing touchdown first game. You're just trying to nitpick when you say he's boring.
Here,
now I would love to see him throw a pass into the end zone for a touchdown. We got to see a taste of that on the 2-point conversion, and that was nice. I liked that.
Forgot all about the 2-point conversion.
But I want to see that first passing touchdown. That's what I want. I'm ready for it. And I'm wondering who it's going to be, where it's going to be, when it's going to be. Will it be in Lambeau? Will it be to Greg Jennings, maybe?
Hey, Cordero already said he wants to be the one to catch his first touchdown.
We'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
It's awesome.
But this is what was posed to me on Twitter. Did Teddy Bridgewater outduel the quarterback from the number 1 offense in the NFL on Sunday? Now, if you go by total yards and quarterback rating, the answer is yes. Because Teddy Bridgewater, not only did he complete a higher number of passes at 63.3% compared to Matt Ryan's 61%, and have a higher quarterback rating at 98.9 compared to 87.2, and he even outthrew him in yards, 317 to 298. But to me, the Matt Ryan 3 touchdowns makes a bit of difference. But with those 3 touchdowns, you also have to take the 2 interceptions, which you may not have Bridgewater making the big splash in the end zone, but you don't have him hurting the team with the interceptions either. So I could see this debate going either way, but the fact that I can even have this debate and consider this as a possibility at this point in his career, in the Vikings season, with everything that's going on with the offensive line and the Adrian Peterson situation not being there, the injury to Kyle Rudolph and everything, the fact that we're having this conversation about Teddy Bridgewater is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I really don't want to hold it against Teddy that he didn't throw for a touchdown in this one because he had the one scramble. But hey, he was able to lead the offense down the field, and when they got in the red zone, guess what? Matt Asiata was able to pound it up the middle 3 times and get the score for the Vikings. It's a team game. And Bridgewater was efficient, no interceptions, led the team to scoring drives. That's how you win football games. Once you get in the red zone, I don't care how you score, so long as you score.
When you see Matt Asiata, does anyone else think of Jerome Bettis? Because Jerome Bettis was one of those guys too, You need 1 yard, he'll get you 2. You need 5 yards, he'll get you 2. That's the kind of guy he was, And to me, Asiata's just that same kind of guy, reliable. And if you need a yard or 2 to get in the end zone, he can do it.
Yeah, Asiata he's a bit of an anomaly. I still don't quite know what to make of him. That's why I'm glad that Jarek had a little bit of coming into his own party. But Asiata he is right up the gut, right up the middle. He's gonna pound it. And that,
Yeah, please no more sweeps with Asiata. Don't.
yeah, that doesn't seem to work too hot. Don't do that. What do I know, right?
I suppose you got to change it up every once in a while just to make teams know that you will do it. But
With the way everything ran this week, with Asiata and McKinnon coming out, just imagine the triple threat and even the quadruple threat. Imagine having Flash come around and sweep, and then you have the option of Teddy just taking it. Norv, what's up? I just gave you an idea for 3 or 4 plays.
the
You can
Vikings
send me a check in the mail. Appreciate it.
241 rushing yards in that game.
Without AP, can we say that? I'm not trying to take anything away from Adrian. And Touche, good on you, by the way, if you guys didn't know and didn't listen in yesterday. I listened to all the pregame stuff as well. Adrian sent Mike Zimmer a text and told the guys, play every down as if it's your last. And I find that to be kind of bone chilling right now, especially with what he's going through.
Yeah, with the situation he's in, that's eerie.
But play every down as if it's your last. And they went out and played like they were on fire. But yes, say that to yourselves right now. 2014, we had a 241 rushing yard game without Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
who had money on that before the season would have started?
That's crazy. All right, so next week, which is Thursday, which is very, very soon, a quick turnaround here, the Vikings will head into Lambeau to take on the Packers, and this is going to be one heck of a game, let me tell you that. Green Bay has the number 28 overall offense, which is weird to think about, but they're number 28 in rushing and number 15 in passing. Minnesota coming in with the number 17 overall defense. So we're going to see a big clash there. Will Minnesota's defense be able to hold Green Bay? That passing attack with Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson being absolutely on fire, that's going to be something to watch. Minnesota has the number 20 overall offense with the number 24 passing offense, number 7 rushing offense. The Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
No Adrian Peterson. Facing the number 26 overall Green Bay Packer defense with the number 5 passing defense and near the bottom of the league in rushing defense.
That's going to be the key right there.
Well, did you guys happen to hear what a former Minnesota Vikings quarterback had to say? He let out a prediction about this week's game a couple hours ago. I don't know if you guys heard it yet or not.
Yeah, T-Jack said he's going to watch the game.
Yeah, no, not Tavares.
Oh, not T-Jack?
Brett Favre had a prediction. And according to Mr. Favre, number 4, he said that not only will the Packers win, it's going to be a blowout.
Yep, that's
So
what he said.
that's what Brett Favre had to say about it. And
Well, if
Brett-
it follows the tradition of other Thursday night football games, it will be an absolute massacre. Because so far, I don't think there's been a competitive one yet.
no,
Nope.
it's going to be
But let's hope
it's going
that's
to
not
be
the
a
case.
purple massacre with Teddy Bridgewater lighting it up for the Minnesota Vikings, right?
You know what, Brett? You're my favorite player of all time, but just shut up, all right? Just shut up.
Hey, you know what? Brett is trying to get back in the good graces with Green Bay Packer fans, and like,
Yeah, but you don't do that by boning your Vikings fans.
yeah, but come on, what's going to get them over faster with their fan base than to pick against us? So
Yeah, but he could have said,
Very true.
could have went not big. He could have just said, well, I think the Packers are a better team and they'll pull it out. That would have been fine.
No,
don't
that
gotta
would
say
have
it's
been
gonna be a
true Brett
massive-
Favre.
Absolute massacre.
That would have been true Brett Favre fashion the way he did
Yeah.
it. Let's just say something off the wall
Yeah.
and grab attention.
you got to
What
go.
would be more Brett Favre is if he waited a couple minutes and put out another video saying that he thought the Vikings were going to win in the landslide.
Yeah, that would be more fun. We're talking about Brett Favre. You know that?
Well, right now, the Vikings are tied for second in the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers. The Detroit Lions, a.k.a. the Motor City Kitties, my sister loves that name, I don't know why, sitting in first place with the Chicago Bears in the cellar for now. This game will decide who will take over second place solely in the division for now. So it's a big game. quarter of the season's gone already. This team has to make an identity for itself, and this is a big game for them to try to do it.
And it feels like this season has been roughly about 5 years long at this point. I don't know about
Right?
you guys, but the fact that we're 2-2 after all of this just feels like a complete miracle.
And this is the Vikings' only scheduled primetime game this year, I believe.
Well, they will start flexing us in when we start winning a bunch, right?
That's why I said scheduled. You never know. But hey, remember that guy that said the Vikings were going to open the season 1-11? At least that didn't happen.
Yeah, screw that guy. Who was that? Let's send him some hate mail right now.
It was some ESPN guy. I'm going to track that article down because I'm still laughing at that
Yeah,
one.
we should. You track that down. I will legitimately send him an email.
On that note, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any questions or concerns for the Green Bay game before we call it a quits?
Well, my final thought, and then I'll let you go, Mr. Smith, if you have anything to say, is that I have never been so happy that a player completely fudged up his pro day as much as Teddy Bridgewater did. Because that was like the best possible thing that could have happened if he continues on the path that he has showed that he is capable of doing thus far for the Minnesota Vikings. Because, hey, he looked good in preseason, he looked good in relief time, and his first start, guess what? I thought he looked pretty darn good too. So, let's continue to build upon this, Mr. Bridgewater. Please, please, please do not regress. We would like to have nice things in Minnesota, and you seem like the kind of guy that can lead us towards those nice things.
Very nicely said.
I'm not going to be able to follow that up with anything special. I agree. It's Teddy time. Take advantage of it, man. And if you guys didn't get to see the game, just go to the very beginning. When we took the field, the whole stadium is chanting your name. So I think the whole state and all of our fan base is behind him. So I'm really excited to see what he brings.
I had a rather, I'm going to say, exuberant Johnny Manziel fan that is a major Vikings fan. I mean, I know that those two things kind of struggle to coexist these days, but I see no problem with him enjoying a player that isn't on the Vikings team. I know some players hate that, or some fans hate that, but oh well. Now, during draft times, he had nothing but negative things to say about Teddy Bridgewater. He didn't like his knees, didn't like his pro day, didn't like his deep ball accuracy, whole bunch of stuff. And he sent me a message, unsolicited, said, "Your boy Bridgewater's playing good. He's a good quarterback. I might have been wrong." And I said, "Holy crap." Well, I didn't say holy crap. I thought holy crap. But that's the kind of things that I like to see. People that can admit that they're wrong and yet evaluate talent in a way that is impartial. Because sometimes you're blinded by other things. I know Johnny Football was flashy, and Teddy Bridgewater isn't. But not everything has to be flashy. The Vikings already have enough flash. And that's where I'll end it for today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and remember to stay classy, Minnesota.